farm. My name is Shamu. How are you doing?
Great.
Are you still a bit dry? It's been raining all morning. Yeah? Okay, good. In here we produce cheese made from cow milk, goat milk, and sheep milk, and we specialize in Gouda cheese, which we pronounce as Gouda. So all the cheese you will find in this farm is actually Gouda cheese. And I'm going to tell you something about the traditional Gouda cheese, which is this one. And we also call it the farmer's cheese. And you might wonder what's so special about this particular cheese. Well, this is the only cheese that we still make by hand, and it has a really old recipe that we still follow. So when we make this cheese, we start in the morning and pour cow milk in the big container over there, and we heat it up till 29 degrees Celsius. The 29 degrees Celsius is an important temperature for a liquid called rennet. This is rennet, and it's an enzyme from a cow's stomach. It doesn't sound really tasty, but I promise you it will get tasty. So we don't use this type of rennet for most of our cheese anymore. We use a microbiological rennet instead. Sounds really difficult, but what it means is we recreated this enzyme in a laboratorium. So it's not from an animal anymore, but because this is such an authentic cheese, we still like to use the products that they would use back in the days. So that's why we still use the rennet that comes from a cow's stomach for this cheese. And what the rennet does is it makes the milk thick like a pudding. When we add this to the container with milk, it takes 30 minutes for the milk to get thick. Once the milk is thick, we cut it with the rotating knives, you can see there as well. And during the cutting process, we get two products up here. So we get the watery stuff in this jar, which is called the whey, and we get the stuff from the bottom, which is called the curds. We get 90% of the whey and only 10% of the curds. And that matters because we don't use the whey to produce the cheese. We give the whey to the animals so it doesn't go to waste. And there's a legend about it that if you drink it, it will keep you young forever. I'm actually 84 years old. And I heard the question. We're not selling it, it's a Dutch secret, so make sure you don't tell anyone. So we do meet the stuff on the bottom, and because we get so little of it, only 10%, we need 10 liters of milk to produce one of these. So that's a lot of milk. We gather all the curds and we put it in a mold like this one. And the mold has holes in the lid so the whey can run out of it. And then we put this mold with the curds inside of the cheese press. It takes 2 hours for the cheese to get pressed. Now we take it out of the mold and we let it, we take it out of the mold and we put it in a salt water bath over here. It contains 80% of water and 20% of salt. It's important for the flavor of the cheese and also for the preservation. The traditional Gouda cheese has to stay inside of this tub for 1 day. If the cheese is bigger, it has to stay in the tub for a bit longer, but because this is just 1 kilogram cheese, it can stay in the tub for 1 day. Now we take it out and we let it dry on the shelves you see here. And last step of the process is we apply liquid plastic on top of the cheese. And we use a sponge for this. So it's important that you know that you cannot eat the outside layer. It's not very tasty and will give you a bad stomach ache, so make sure you don't eat it. But this plastic layer allows you to keep the cheese for as long as 1 year. And that's only for this cheese. All the other cheese will last a few months. The expiration date is on the back. But this cheese you can keep for an entire year. But the cheese will change a lot if you keep it for such a long time. We call that the aging process of the cheese. If we would cut this cheese right now, it's still a young cheese. A young cheese is 1 month old and has a natural flavor and a soft texture. The older the cheese gets, the saltier the flavor gets and the harder the texture of the cheese gets. We call that a mature cheese. A mature cheese is at least 1 year old. And we also have something that is right in the middle, and it's not very original, name says it already, it's called middle-aged cheese, and it's 6 months old. So this cheese is 3 years old. And you can still eat this and probably bowl with it, but you can eat it. Now I will cut the cheese for you, and this is a young cheese, so like I said, it's soft and has a natural flavor. And unfortunately for me, it has a little bit of a weird shape, but I'm gonna try my best to make something pretty. We use the slicer like this, and you just press, and I promise you can do this too, it's super easy. Is there anyone who would like to try the cheese?
Yeah.
Shoe workshop. Today I'm going to show you how we make our wooden shoes. Firstly, the wood we use is poplar. We use poplar wood because it's quite soft and easy to cut. We also use the wood when it's still freshly chopped and very wet. It makes it even easier. I'll show you. See, it's as easy to cut as a piece of cheese. Nowadays we use these machines to make our wooden shoes, but in the early days of shoemaking, we simply grab a block of wood, and we carve into the wood, the shape of the wooden shoe by hand. After creating the outside shape, we grab this thing called a spoon scoop, hollow out the inside, like that. Now this was a pretty tough job, excuse me, thank you. Now this was a pretty tough job, and it took a skilled shoemaker about 2 to 3 hours to make one pair of shoes this way. With these machines, it takes 5 minutes. So this first machine will create the outside shape of the wooden shoe. It works the same way as copying a key. You see the spinning blade traces over the model to the left, and it creates a copy on the right. There we have the outside shape of a wooden shoe. Next we'll hollow out the inside. The inside of the shoe hollowed out. Wow. Wow indeed. So next we'll cut off the wood at the nose and the heel, which we scoop by hand with this big knife. There we've got the finished shape of the shoe. However, the wood is still very wet. I'll show you. So a lot of water. It's about half the weight of the shoe. So next we'll leave our shoe to dry by air for about 3 weeks. Because if the shoe dries too fast, the wood will crack. So after our shoe is completely dry, we'll polish it on a sandpaper belt. Like that. And then we'll have a finished wooden shoe for a child of around 4 years old. It's quite a big shoe for such a young child, but the wooden shoes, they're all quite big. Now we typically wear them with thick woolen socks so they're comfortable against the hard wood. And about 1 finger of free space behind the heel, so it's comfortable to walk around with. Now you might still be wondering why you'd wear shoes made of wood. Well, they're very strong, and they protect your feet. Watch this. Other than that, they're also insulated so they keep your feet nice and warm, and once they're dried, they're waterproof. Alright, that's how I make the wooden shoes. Enjoy your stay in Holland. Thank you. Thank you.
Dan gooi je wijs water, maak er een vlot van. Vaak hier naartoe. En met al die blokjes, ja, zo kunnen we dus de afstanden.
We heat it up to create a sugary liquid called wort. Hops are added for the bitter flavor. Yeast converts the sugar into carbon dioxide, alcohol, and a fruity flavor. You have been transformed into a fresh Heineken beer, and now you are ready to be bottled. Good luck.
inside, so you don't want to drink it away. If you drink, try to drink underneath the foam layer like this. Pretend it's my mouth, and after a big sip, you put it back on top of your beer. Keeps your beer fresher for longer. Now swirl around your glass and smell it. What ingredient can you smell? I know it smells like beer. Maybe last night, for some of you, not the hops. Yes, very good, madam. Yeast indeed. Yeast that gives a beer the fruity aromas and also the distinctive taste. I think it's almost time to taste the beer. Before we do that, I would like to say cheers with all of you in Dutch, which is? Proost! Three on the wall. On three, scream close as loud as you can and take a big sip. 1, 2, 3. Proost! Enjoy the flavors. Finish it off with a satisfying. Lovely, yeah? Yeah, that's what I thought.
How many beers are you drinking?
None. Otherwise, my story would be too blurry at the end of the day, I'm afraid.
8 hours.
For 8
How many
hours?
do you drink?
None. Only after work. Alright, please follow me.